Welcome to Rising Frequencies, where we will help you to apply esoteric wisdom to your daily life. I'm Andrea Mullaney, and I'm here with Lisa Risingberry. Each week, we discuss ways you can help yourself look inside and perform the inner alchemy that is needed to grow and evolve, remember who you are and what you came here to do. And hello, everybody. This is our 5th show. Eventually, we'll stop counting down, maybe after we hit 10 or something.
Yeah, eventually it'll be kind of corny.
This is our 122nd show. Yeah. So, anyway. How about that 11:11?
I know, it's pretty cool energy. I'm still feeling it because usually when you have a big gate, it's or an alignment, it's a couple days in and then a couple days out, and I'm still feeling it a bit.
Yeah, it was neat. I think Oka Fala, who is a wonderful astrologer, posted a pretty interesting post on 11:11, and he said it's 11:11. Mars and Pluto conjoin at 11 degrees in Capricorn or something like that. So
Yes.
It was pretty neat.
Yes.
Yes, the energy is just not quitting.
Well, it's Mars, Mars and Pluto conjunct at 11 degrees, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is powerful because, once again, we've been talking about the Scorpio energy, and Mars and Pluto are co-rulers of Scorpio, and
Yes.
the number 11 is also the number of awakening. And what was the name of his blog? It was the transition point, or what was it? I can't pull that.
Yeah, I'll have to find it. Yeah, it was a good one.
It was a good one.
It's like we've hit the point now, we're past 50%, and now we're the tipping point or
the
something.
Tipping point, yes. And we were talking about that last week with this new energy, the ether, or the prana, the organ, whatever you want to call it, that's always been here, is now, past that mark.
And he called it the trigger event.
The trigger event. Yeah. Yeah, everyone's tuning into the same thing. It's so cool.
Yes. Death, transformation, rebirth, all at once into the old ways of doing things. The powers that be are kind of falling up. The light is breaking through the seams, basically, of the matrix, and it's kind of, matrix is falling apart a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the planets have our back.
Yes.
They took, and as above, so below. I have the faith in the world, and that it's always held true before. It's just kind of different now that we're actually living it. We're waiting.
Exactly. But we're birthing the new at the same time.
Yes.
So it's not just destruction. It's the new basically is pushing the old out of the way so it can be born. That's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wonderful.
It is.
Yes.
Crazy and wonderful. And you have some really, really cool sun information. You schooled me this week.
More sun stuff. Oh, and you were correct. The sunspot that's moving around back to face us again is the big one that it unleashed 6 X-class solar flares last, a couple weeks ago, and it's coming back. It's supposed to face us fully, I think, by Saturday. Tomorrow it'll be facing us partly, and then it came around the limb today, so it's coming back, and we'll see what it does. And since then, I mean, we've actually had some CMEs hit us. We've had some solar wind has come through, so we've actually had a lot of particles have been hitting the Earth's electromagnetic body. And speaking of that, so the Earth has an electromagnetic field around it, and it looks like a torus. And guess who else has that? Human beings. Every human also has an electromagnetic field around their body. Some call it the ego. And solar flares, just as they affect the Earth, they affect the electromagnetic body of each human being. They affect your ego. And the pineal gland is the gland right in the center of your brain, and has considered the seat of the ego, some say. It's particularly sensitive to magnetic fields. And the pineal gland regulates the circadian rhythm, which is when you wake and when you sleep, and your melatonin production. Interesting, because it also produces DMT, which is it's viewed as our gateway to other dimensions of reality. Probably helps us when we dream, function in that world. And so the pineal gland and your ego are tweaked by solar flares. They're activated. There was a Russian scientist named Chajevsky, and he compiled Chajevsky.
That's a mouthful.
He compiled histories of 72 countries, beginning at 500 BC up to 1922, and he found that 80% of most significant human events occurred within a 5-year period surrounding the peak of solar activity. There was societal unrest, revolutions, all kinds of things happened, dissatisfaction with the status quo, basically, but also great innovation and imagination, and lots of great, inventions came during these times too. By the way, I found this information from a blog called Waking Times. The author is Paul Linda, so I have to give him credit too, because I'm like, I know this affects human consciousness. I feel it, I know it. But he explained it pretty well and gave this background detail with this scientist. So anyway, what does this mean? The ego controls your emotions. When the ego is impacted, these solar flares speed up the energy, and so that heightens your ego, it heightens your emotions, and any emotional wounds that were suppressed come up for healing, basically. If you haven't been doing your inner work and healing your emotional issues, then these issues get magnified during heightened solar activity, and so they come up to be healed. And that's what's happening at this time. We are getting hammered, and plus Earth's magnetic field is weakening a lot, so we're getting a lot more cosmic rays as well, and energy pouring into us, and we're in the photon belt, so we're getting hit from all sides. But it's actually energy it's helping us. It's high vibrating energy. And radiation's very high vibrating. I mean, it'll tear you apart if you vibrate a lot lower than it, but gamma rays and everything, they vibrate very, very high. So all of that stuff is kind of coming to us now, and it's assisting with this ether that's moving in, and all of this change. The Earth's like a capacitor, and each human being is like a capacitor that's charging, charging up and ready to bing, kind of level up. It's kind of, we're getting charged up and we're all ready to level up soon. So anyway. And we'll see what happens when the solar flare, when that sunspot moves around.
Oh man!
See if we get some more. I bet we will.
That it just amazes me that that spot is big enough to swallow multiple Earths side by side.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take the size of that sunspot and put the Earth in the middle, we look like a little dot.
Yes, we do.
It's just, wow.
Yeah, I think it said it's like 25, 30 times, or 33 or something like that.
Yeah. I forgot how many Jupiters it can swallow. I mean, that right there tells you.
Yeah, that's right.
How large this thing is. It's just amazing transformation.
Yeah. So...
Well, then I'm going to move on. One of the things I wanted to talk about again is, Ascension symptoms, and kind of relating some of the personal things that I've been going through. But before I get to that, I really want to cover, again, what Ascension is, because there's a lot of New Age information floating out there on social media that I've been picking up on. And it's just very frustrating to me. And most people don't even know where this New Age philosophy came from. I certainly didn't. Yeah, I never resonated with it. It just never made sense to me. It sounded ridiculous. I just never became part of the love and light community. That's why I just kind of went into my shell and just stayed to myself. Until I came across Mark Passio, and I actually was at a conference that he spoke at, and he is fabulous. He has a video out talking about New Age deceptions. This man participated in creating this New Age religion. He participated in it. The New Age, this whole new genre, came from, and I want to make sure everybody is sitting, and if you've never heard this before, your jaw's going to drop and you're going to have to pick it back up, because that's what happened to me. The powers that be created the New Age philosophy. He participated in it. So you have a person who was actually doing it, who realized, this is not such a good idea, and has come forward. And basically what he said is the powers that be, the powers that were, realized that people were pulling away from organized religion, and so they needed something to kind of divert them from knowing the full truth of the holy sciences and esoteric knowledge, because the powers that be, the powers that were, know this knowledge like the back of their hand. They are taught from kids, they understand it, they practice it, they do their inner work, they meditate, they do everything they're supposed to do. They know inner alchemy, they know this information, and they use it, of course, to control the masses. They don't use it for service to others, they use it for service to self and the negativity. So what they did is they created half-truths. So they put out esoteric knowledge watered down. So if you use it, it's not going to work. The book The Secret,
Yes.
crap. Because
Exactly. It doesn't tell you how to manifest properly. You're manifesting with your mind,
yeah, basically,
Correct.
and he goes into this, and I knew this. If you only manifest from your mind, it karma beats your butt because it's done incorrectly. You can't participate in esoteric knowledge without the full frequency, the correctness. If you cut it in half, it's the same as taking a esoteric symbol and turning it upside down. When you do that, you change its polarity, and then it's negative. If you keep it in its correct upright position, then it's good. There's law of polarity. It's the Kabbalion. There's poles and everything. So that's what they did. They created ascended masters. I like to call them ass-ended masters. Oh my gosh, when I very first started to read about ascended masters,
Saint Germain. And then I found out that he was actually one of the big. He started the Illuminati. He started the organization. Like, he was one of the ones who supposedly started it back in France, and then it moved to the United States or something. I'm like, how is he a positive, ascended master guy if he's also known to have started the organization known as the Illuminati? I'm like,
I know. I mean, I didn't know any of this crap, because I was learning through experience, and then I hit the books. And basically what really got me to hit the books and really start studying the holy sciences after my experiences was this New Age bull crap. That's a good censor there.
Okay, you stopped yourself.
I did, because I couldn't believe that this is spiritual knowledge. This is nothing that what I'm experiencing. I must be an idiot. And as I was preparing to go to mystery school, my friend Dave, we were having this conversation, and he was talking about things that I had no idea what he was talking about. And then he gave me these websites to look at, and I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, oh my goodness. Ascended masters is a new age term. It's used to control people so that you think that you need to give them money because they know more than you do, and they're going to teach you. They don't know what the real meaning of an ascended master is, and this is why I laugh. Every single human on this planet, even the ones that are completely asleep, is a ascended master. An ascended master is simply, you were in one frequency and you completed that. You hit that frequency mark to graduate and you moved to the next level. Therefore, you mastered your previous level and you ascended to the next. Ta-da! You're an ascended master. That's all it is. So these,
what are you a master of?
you're a master of that level of consciousness.
Exactly. And when they're saying ascended master here, they're like, oh, they've already left Earth, and they're hanging out in the astral, basically.
And they're not. It's such rubbish. It's rubbish. And I've been seeing on the social media, there are these organizations that are coming out now saying that they have ascended master teachers. Okay? And I'm just like, why are you doing this? It's all new age. Please learn what you're talking about. So if anyone wants to know who the ascended masters are, look in the mirror, because just to come to this planet, you have to vibrate very high. Even the ones that are asleep, they are ascending at a snail's pace, but they are still ascending. They are still evolving. Those of us that are awake, we're going a lot faster. Everyone's at a different frequency, and I say this all the time. We're all at different points in the path. Now, are there some people that are farther along? Yes. Are there people that have more knowledge, more experience? Yeah, that's true. And they are amazing teachers, but they're humble. They don't call themselves ascended masters. They just don't.
They don't seek great followings of people, and I mean, some of these folks out there that are just like, oh yes, this person says this person says that, here's my advice on this, and here's my advice on that, and everyone come to me with your problems and I will fix them for you. I mean, it's completely just another way of giving your power away and worshiping something greater than yourself. It's, how is that any different than the current power structure,
religion,
in this current paradigm? And also with the corporations and the bankers and all that stuff, you're still worshiping something greater than yourself, even if they're supposedly spiritual. That's no different from, that person is no different from how the Catholics treat the Pope. Mm-hmm. What's the difference?
There is no difference. They went
it's just another path.
It is. It's
control.
It is. It's a pitfall. It was created to take people who were waking up from organized religion and put them in a pit and have them worship ascended masters.
Exactly.
And have them get, and they want something, so let's just give them half the knowledge, because you can't do anything with half a knowledge.
But then they still feel like it's truth, because it's partial truth. There's a little bit of truth in there, but it's also wrapped in falsehoods. Just like completely focusing on positivity. And that's the other thing that's wrong with The Secret. Because that's the first thing I watched that actually woke me up. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I actually thank it. Luckily I moved on, but it took me a while. Because I moved through the whole New Agey thing and the Ascended Masters, and then after a while I'm like, and then I found George Cavazos, and he actually talked a lot about, and that aligned more with how I was feeling, and now I just feel how I feel.
Right. Right. And what the New Age community teaches, where don't look at anything negative. Don't think negative, and you run away from your inner work. If you can't accept that there's duality, you can't transmute what is inside of you because you just don't want to look at it. That's very destructive. You can't come out of that pit with that kind of energy. And if you were, here's a great example. And I was just thinking about this today in my crazy ponderings. If and we're going to play make believe here, but let's say Earth was never ever manipulated. Never manipulated, that it was created perfectly. And it's created in duality because we come here to learn, because we are masters, and we're getting ready to take a big leap in consciousness, those of us that graduate. So let's say we have a perfect school. Perfect school. Is it going to be all unicorns and fluffy white bunnies? It's not. It was meant to be very difficult because we are advanced. And we needed a challenge to further your consciousness. You don't grow from pure light. You grow from your duality of darkness, out of darkness into the light. Everyone knows that. But the New Age community, with their ascended masters and their love and light, and it just makes me sad and it makes me frustrated. They're afraid of negativity. They just won't go there.
They deny it and hide it, and so then it comes out even worse. You can't ignore a problem.
No.
And hope it'll go away.
And the very group that they're trying to fight against, which is the powers that be, the powers that were, they just gave them all their power. They just stuck their heads in the sand and their butts in the air and say, okay, give it to me. And they just let the other side win. So if you have any friends that are in the New Age pit, you may want to look up Mark Passio, MARK and PASSIO, I believe. He's amazing. He goes through and is very good at teaching esoteric knowledge. What he does is for people that have been in the New Age community, he teaches from their point of view and says, no, this is half of it, here's the other half. And if you have a friend that is stuck there, they'll have really big aha moments, and it'll be empowering because they have to come out of that pit. It's time. It's time. And we're running out of time. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, it was Edmund Burke. I was trying to figure out who said this. It's the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
Exactly. And that's what they're doing. Nothing.
Exactly.
And they don't, but you have to realize they don't know that they're not doing nothing. They actually believe that they are on an ascension path and they're on an ascension stop, no one doesn't. Well, that's wrong too. It's not like they've stopped, but they are going at a snail's pace, just like the people that are stuck in organized religion and, abusing their bodies and just are really in the matrix. They're going as slow as they are, because that's what the powers that be created the New Age community for.
Yeah, little side. It's like a big river flowing. There's some little side eddies that they're trying to divert people into. The main river's flowing towards ascension, and there's little side, all kinds of traps.
And then they also put out there those traps where telling people that the esoteric symbols, if you like a pentagram, you're going to hell. They destroyed the knowledge of the seal of Solomon. Solomon was, everyone thinks King Solomon was a black magician and that the seal of Solomon was used to conjure up demons. Right. Well, that's true. Inner demons. Now show me a person that doesn't have an inner demon.
That's right.
that symbol is the Merkaba.
Yes, they're doing everything they can to keep you out of your inside, with the channelers too. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, don't even get me started on that one.
Yeah, just listen to it's like, oh, here's this guru and that guru and these ascended masters. Follow them, listen to them, whatever it takes, so that you won't feel powerful. So you're constantly giving power away. And your attention also goes outside of yourself. If they're not going to catch you with television and the internet and YouTube and videos and this and that. For instance, my son started watching Vine. Oh, and isn't Vine also I learned this from Yellow Rose for Texas, by the way. She said that the Illuminati called their bloodline the Vine. But that it's the new social media or newer social media site where they only show 6-second video clips, and that's it. And they're just like amazing 6-second things, and you just see one after the other after the other. And he's like, Mom, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Highest jumping man. This guy runs over. This guy falls. This guy. And I'm like, uninstall that. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, please. I'm like, that is so and he's like, you're right. He agreed with me. He's very aware. He's about to turn 11, my son. And he's like, yeah, you're right, Mom. He's like, it was even for him, it was too much input, just to keep you glamored, basically. You're just giving your power away and being so, all the shiny stuff is being put in front of us to take our attention.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look.
I know. And that's what the New Age is. It's shiny, and, people just want hope. Exactly. They just want hope. And, especially after 2012, so many people lost hope. They thought that, spaceships were going to come and beam them up. And I'm not joking. People really, really thought that. I won't name names, but there were some well-known people, and they aren't really in the New Age community so much anymore because, they were saying they were going to be beamed up, and Archangel Michael was coming for them, and they were coming in spaceships, and they're still here, and they're lost. They just don't know where to go because all their New Age beliefs that they believed into didn't happen in 2012, and it's a shame, but that's what it was created for. That's what it was created for. So help out your New Age friends because we need them.
Yeah.
We need them, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault. I mean, that was put there intentionally. You can't judge them. You can't think you're better than they are. You need to help them. It's not their fault. And they don't even realize what they're stuck in because it's like they've been lulled to sleep. They are sheep just like the other sheeple. They're, just one's New Age spiritual and the other one is, stuck in the matrix. And the New Age community really isn't stuck in the matrix so much because they're more aware of your conspiracy theories. They know what's going on. Part of them know what's going on socially. It's like they're stuck in between, and we just need to reach out to them. And Mark Passio is the man. He is very blunt, and very, very down to earth, and he just tells it like it is because he was there.
Yes, and that's the thing. Okay, we're saying Mark Passio, but you know what? There's so many people who can teach you things but don't treat them like they're better than you, and don't give your soul away to these people.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he doesn't want it.
No.
They're just like your friend.
Yeah.
Just giving you advice. They're at the
Mark,
just like they are.
Right. Mark will point you into the right direction. Which, listening to this show, I mean, we're holy science, we're esoteric knowledge as well. But, I don't think anyone that would listen to us would fall into that category. But they would kind of turn us off right away. But we all have friends that fall into that category. I do. And I try to post my deeply, esoteric stuff on my Facebook page, and I just make little comments here and there to them. I have fewer and fewer of them because I don't vibrate with that. But speaking of vibrating, I'm going to move on to my stuff that I was going through. Last week I was talking about these really, really bad headaches, and my headache was so bad one night that I woke up and I couldn't move. I was like paralyzed. And these are Ascension symptoms, and I hate the word symptoms because it makes you feel like you're sick. and you're not. If you're having ascension symptoms, it's painful, it's frustrating. Sometimes you want to pull your hair out, but it's really a good thing. But you can't just say, "Oh, they're ascension symptoms. I have to toughen up, put on my big girl panties or put on my big boy briefs and tough it out." You don't have to do that. So what I did, and this took me, oh goodness, Andrea would know. I think it's like three weeks for me to finally fix it and get to the root of the cause. First thing I did, I'll just give a quick rundown, is I was in so much pain. I went to my oils because I'm aromatherapist, aroma medicine certified. Went to my oils for medicine. Very little results. I did my own energy work, all kinds of energy work, I know. Very little results. I did EFT tapping, Indian head massage, I did some cranial work on myself, meditations, and it just really wasn't cutting it. I was getting a little bit of relief, but every single day it would come back. Every day. So I'm like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board and let's see when this started. This is what you got to do. You got to go back and go, when did this pain started? So for me, it was a pain in the neck. Literally, it was a pain in the neck. So I had to go back and see where the pain in the neck started. And it corresponded with, I increased my workouts. I work out at the gym about 10 hours a week. And 3 weeks ago, I went back to a class. It's called Body Combat. It's martial arts and boxing. And I went back to that class. Haven't done anything like that, I'll tell you, for years. So it put a lot of strain on my neck and on my head. And so that was a physical injury. So that I had part physical energy and the other part I knew was ascension related. So I had to go back in, and from a healer, I went to an excellent healing institute. When you have, anytime you get an injury, what created that injury first was a disruption in your force field, which is your aura. So if you have an imbalance in your aura, wherever it's located, that's a little weak point in your physical body. So for me, it's neck. So that's your throat chakra, and in my head. So then I'm getting up. For me, it was at my whole head. So it was my third eye and my crown. It just felt like my head was going to explode, or if I could just pop it like a pimple, I would get some relief. So I said, all right, now I have a focal point, chakras. Everything comes back to the chakras, whether you're dealing with ascension symptoms or your daily life. So I traced it back to when was I feeling some issues with my throat chakra, and that was when we were, Andrea and I were planning on doing this show, because it brought up a lot of fear in me, because we were both on a previous show and left that group and went through a lot with it. And my little throat chakra, I had thyroid disease, so it's always been a weak point for me. And after I went through some trauma with this other group, it took a beating, and I thought I fixed it. I thought it was good. And then we started talking about doing the show and then going public, and then I would be using my voice, and I got really afraid. And I thought I transmuted all that, but nope, I didn't. And then that's when I got hit with what I was going through. So I went back in, did my handy dandy. I prefer to use Tumo, which is inner heat, which is kind of associated with dream yoga, which we're going to talk about. We're definitely going to get there, because this is Tibetan information that really has to come out. People are ready for this information now, and I really want to help people to learn Tumo. And so I went in and I did my inner heat and transmuted it, and within 4 hours it was gone, and it has not come back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to track back the source of the problem, or you can't just treat the symptoms. You have to actually find the source to heal it and dig down. And yeah, it usually begins in your emotional body and your ego and your electromagnetic body, your aura, and then it presents in your physical. And by the way, you were having these issues right when we were having these crazy solar flares.
That didn't help.
Yeah.
Oh my
Brought it out
gosh,
more.
that didn't help at all.
Well,
It made it
helped because
worse.
it brought it out to be healed.
Oh, I
Made it
know.
all better.
I know. But if we hadn't, just to whine a little bit, if we hadn't have been in the solar flares, it wouldn't have been so darn painful. I mean,
Probably.
I mean, it was bad, but I balanced it out. But that's what inner work is, and that's why it's called work, because it took effort on my part. I couldn't just wish it away. I couldn't just
Positive think it away.
no, yeah. Positive thinking
Going to
didn't do
ignore
it.
this pain
No,
and
but
focus on-
well, that's only part of it. I did stay positive. I really didn't go into the pity parties. Well, did I? I mean, you would know more.
You barely complained at all. I mean, you just say it really hurts, but da-da-da, and then yeah, you were fine. Yeah,
Okay.
you don't want to wallow in pain either.
No.
You have to have a balance.
But I did have to stay positive because I could have really gotten into a pity party because it was every day. Every day I had a headache and a neck ache for 3 weeks. Every day.
Well, you were positive, but you weren't denying the pain. I mean, that's the balance, Just kind of observing everything, the positive and the negative, and dealing with it from a balanced perspective and understanding that it's something that needed to be taken care of, and it was painful, and you're allowed to have pain. Ow! And
Yeah, I
express that
know.
you have pain, not that's fine.
And I have a friend that can see an energy really well, and he's like, "Oh, you just have all this. You're like, you have a big ball of ether around your head." He goes, "You have all this energy coming into you," and I'm like, "Yeah, that can't be it." I mean, yeah, that's part of it, but I just knew there's more to the story. So you have to be a detective when you have these energy symptoms or ascension symptoms or whatever the heck you want to call it. You have to be a detective, and if something doesn't work, you can't quit. You just can't quit. You will eventually get to the root of the problem.
Yes, the more you focus on yourself, the more you get to know yourself and know your own body. Each person's body is completely individual and different, and you know where your pain lies and why and if you really take time to just look inside yourself and spend some time with yourself and healing yourself and loving yourself, and that's what it takes.
And for me, it was also good old-fashioned book knowledge about the chakras.
Yeah.
And I know so many people are like, oh, that's just so boring, why study the chakras, didn't I learn that in Reiki, Reiki only barely covers the tip of the surface with the knowledge of chakras, and if I didn't have that knowledge, I wouldn't be pain-free right now. I'd probably still be whining and hurting. But that brings, we're going to continue tonight with study of the chakras, and we're going to go on to the heart chakra. But before we get there, this is a good segue. Why study the chakras? I just gave a perfect example, but when you look at all 7 chakras, they are literally like little mini universes, and within each little universe of a chakra, you have life lessons that you have to learn. Your chakras emit sound. I've heard mine. I've actually been able to hear mine. And there you will hit a frequency in that chakra that, okay, now you graduated from that. That doesn't mean that you're never going to have a root chakra issue once you graduate from the root chakra, but you have to hit that frequency to open it up so that you can move to the next. And you were going to say something.
Outstanding. Yes. I love it when we talk sound too. Yes, each chakra will have a frequency that you have to hit, and then you break through that chakra, move up to the next one, work on it. And it's kind of like tuning a piano or a violin or something, you're tuning
Mm-hmm.
with your frequencies and your sound, and emotions have sounds too, and each chakra is associated with different emotions, and yes, it's all really tied to sound and frequency.
Yeah,
And
I
light.
know. And they're it's called the music of the spheres. The
That's right.
spheres are your little chakras.
Yes.
And they will sing a happy tune, and you know, you're right, it is like a tuning fork. It is, because it's all vibration and frequency, you know.
Yeah, and eventually when they're all in tune, it'll be like da 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 da.
Yeah, I know there are people
And you'll
that
have a
can.
nice harmony.
Yeah, I haven't been able to at will call make them sing like that. Mine are spontaneous. If I'm in the astral or in a dream, and when you dream, just some dream yoga information. When you know the information about the chakras and the issues that they contain, when you dream, you go into those. If you're dreaming about survival and apocalyptic scenarios, you're doing your inner work in the root chakra.
Yeah. I'm in my
So
sacral a lot.
I know you are. You've been doing a lot of sexy work lately, girl.
I know.
You're making great strides.
De-sexing myself.
Oh my goodness, you're doing so good. Yes, I mean, like even after it's balanced and open, you're still going to go back there. You won't hear the sound until it's balanced, and not everybody's going to hear the sound. So some people can just feel it. You just know, because you're not going to be dealing with those issues in your physical life as much. And that's another way that you can tell, I think I hit that mark, and now I've moved up to the next one. Life makes it easy to tell.
Yeah.
Another excellent reason to study the chakras like we're presenting them is when you're dealing with other people. Very practical information is when you're in a public situation, and let's just say someone is so angry and they're just coming at you. If you know what each chakra represents, you know those lessons you're supposed to learn, you can tell where that person is on their path. And then you can kind of back up on your judgment. And not that you want to be around this person, you shouldn't, but you can pull out some compassion, because then you know where they're coming from. We've all met that person where you're just like, oh my gosh, that person is nuts. They're just like from Planet Pop-Tart, or they're just from another universe. They're that different from you. Well, it's because they are. If you're someone that you're working on your throat, and that's where you are on your journey, and you come across someone who you stepped on their survival toes, and they're very angry with you, and they're in the root chakra, you can see the discrepancy. You can see how far apart you guys are. So you can see that, yeah, they are from a different universe. They're living in the root, you're living in the throat. And then at that point, you have to kind of take the higher road and understand where they're coming from, and just diffuse the situation. And the best way to diffuse a situation with a person who's locked in your lower three chakras, which are the most neglected, and it's where most of humanity is simply, and I swear this works, but it takes takes willpower and intention to do this. You're only going to say 2 letters or 2 words. And if you have someone coming at you with anger, and you just look at them and you just take a deep breath and you say, okay, and you follow it with 2 words, I understand. You have popped their bubble, and you diffuse the situation. That doesn't mean that you agree with them, because you probably aren't. Doesn't mean you need to be in the same room with them, because you need to leave a situation like that if you can. Not everybody can. But if you take the higher road and don't feed the fire, because when someone is in their lower chakras, you can't reason with them, you can't argue with them. they're stuck. But if you say, okay, I understand, it diffuses it, because all they want to do is to have someone understand them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
yeah, when people are locked in those lower chakras, they just want some compassion. And if you can muster it up, and even though you're not agreeing with them, and even though you want to smack them in the face, you just say, okay, I understand. They don't really know what you're understanding. Pretty much you're saying, okay, I understand that you're locked in your lower chakras, and I can't help you with that, and I understand that you're completely delusional, but I understand. All they feel is the frequency, and they'll leave you alone.
Yeah, and they'll take those words to mean that you understand what they're going through.
Right. You might, and you do. You do understand what they're going through, because you have been there. We've all been in those lower chakras. So you understand their spiritual journey. You don't understand what they're arguing about, and that's not what you're saying. That's the big difference. So try it. I've never had it not work for me. I've had to say it like 100 times, and when I've been stuck in a situation that I couldn't leave.
Yeah.
But I just didn't go. I did not participate in idle chit chat or arguments, and I just kept saying, I get it, I understand, it's okay.
Yeah. Me too. I've diffused a lot of very angry people and potentially violent people by doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to keep your head and stay calm, and just don't get drawn in or get offended. Just don't let that happen. Just detach a little bit and look at them and understand that they're probably hurting.
Mm-hmm. And what gets you there is knowledge of the chakras.
No, absolutely. Yep.
Because you
really do understand.
You really do.
When you know why someone is angry, that goes so far, and
mm-hmm.
in dealing with people, you can empathize. You're able to see something from somebody else's perspective, or you're able to understand why they are the way they are, and you look at it objectively, and you don't get drawn in. It doesn't tweak your ego. You don't let it tweak your ego, so you're able to stay out of it.
Yeah, and it works. So speaking of chakras, tonight is the heart. So this, we've left the 3 lower ones, which are the most dense, and they're just, that's why most people don't get out of the 3 lower ones, is because they don't feel good. Those are that's your shadow self, that's your ego. No one wants to go there because it doesn't feel good, but you have to. You got to get your hands dirty, but most people don't do that. So tonight's the heart chakra, which is a very nice feeling chakra. It feels good, so the discussion will feel great. Do you want to explain the songs that we picked? We're going to take a quick break, play some music. Okay,
the first song is called One by Merva again. And the second song is Heartbeat by George Woods. And they are, again, newer artists that we really like their songs and wanted to promote their songs. So, and they are giving us permission to play these songs without royalties. So thank them very much.
Yes.
We thank them. And
we appreciate that.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to play some music, and we'll see everyone on the other side.
I smile because I know you now. Falling from time right where I belong. We are one. This time, a time to break into your mind. This time, it's my bed and
breathing to my neck on the train. The way we are and the things we say, they just aren't the same. And when you're away, I'm just missing you. Could see so easily just but my heart is stuck in somebody else's location. Every time you call me, babe, I'm on vacation with her. And our heads are spinning around and around. Don't know what we found, but can we hear the sound of reason? Over the heartbeat, babe. Over the heartbeat, babe. I pick a blue flower to lace your hair. And passing strangers think that we are together. I wanna hold your hand, but it might be too familiar. There's two people in the way. We both know their names. And when I'm away, are you missing me? Could you see so easily just kissing me? Well, your heart is stuck in somebody else's location. Every time you call me, babe, I'm on vacation with her. And our heads are spinning around and around. Don't know what we found, but can we hear the sound of reason? Over the heartbeat, babe. Over the heartbeat, babe. We both know that we're in love already. It's not like there's something that we are forgetting. But I am loving mixing my time and your time together. It's just gonna be so hard to tell her that my heart is stuck in somebody else's location. Every time you call me, babe, I'm on vacation with her. And our heads are spinning around and around. Don't know what we found, but can we hear the sound of reason? Oh. Can we hear the sound of reason? My heart is stuck in somebody else's location. Every time you call me, baby, I'm on vacation with her. And our heads are spinning around and around. Don't know what we found, but can we hear the sound of reason? Over the heartbeat, babe. Over the heartbeat, babe. Over the heartbeat, babe. Over the heartbeat, babe.
And we're back.
Hello, everybody.
You know, the first song that you picked, One, is so important to the heart chakra. I don't think you realized it when you picked it.
I didn't realize it.
I mean, it's so cool, and it's the first thing that we're going to talk about right now, because with the heart chakra, there are 3 chakras above it, 3 chakras below it, and then
That's right. Yeah.
the goal is to merge into one. The 2 shall become one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yeah, and it's like the figure 8, right? Goes right
Yes.
the infinity symbol, because the loop loops down under the in the bottom 3, and then through the heart center up above up into the top 3, and yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah, and if you draw the Seal of Solomon, Merkaba, Star of David, and I briefly went over this last week. If the top part represents spirit, the bottom part represents matter, or you can say the top part is ego, or the top part is soul, and the bottom part is ego, and the two come into the middle, and you create your Christed self when the two become one. When you merge ego and soul, you merge spirit and matter, you give birth to your Christed self. Now, Christ is a title, and it comes from Christos, which means anointed one. And most people don't really know the real meaning of anointing. And what that is, you can anoint yourself with oils. That's the outside version. But the real anointing occurs from within, when your colostrum oil comes up from the base of your spine and anoints your spine, and then comes up into your holy grail, your brain, your mind, your skull, Golgotha, and then you are anointed. And that happens as you clear your chakras and raise your kundalini. But that and then you're a Christ. You are Christ.
Yes. And doesn't it also, there's a sound that goes with it. It's like Karaya Sata'ala, crystal, K-R-Y-S-T, Karaya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not prepared with that one, but yes.
It just popped in my head, sorry.
Wow, that's so cool how that, it just pops right in with you. Yeah.
It does. I think I'm clairsentient, or when knowledge just comes to you, and I'm like, oh yeah,
I knew
Did you know you make a harmony when all of your
your body sings? It is your body sings a song, huh? I always knew that. I know, and you know what's just so cool about this knowledge is everyone knows it. You're not hearing it for the first time. You're just remembering it. And when you look at the word remember, you take re and member. You're putting your pieces back together. You're remembering your pieces. You're putting it all back, just like pieces of a puzzle. Yeah, exactly. That's, and as you clear your chakras and you pull in more of that ether through your body, you're going to have these knowings where it's just going to pop into your head, and you're going to be like, how did I know that? How did I experience that? But I know this is true. And then you'll start to study the holy sciences, or you'll start to do the research, and you'll go, holy crap, that really is true. There it is. No one taught me that. I tuned into it first, and then I read about it second.
Exactly.
So, yeah, there's nothing new under the sun. That really is true. Yeah. It's been there. It always has been there, and all will always continue to be there. But I really want to kind of just do a short introduction to the heart before you can even get into your heart space. So many people think that I'm in my heart. I come from my heart, when they're not. And unfortunately, the reason why they haven't is because they haven't fully opened their lower 3 chakras. Their lower 3 chakras are not singing a happy tune. And it's almost like the Ark of the movie with the Ark of the Covenant, where they had to like hit a certain sound, and then this would open up. And do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
There was a movie where they had to go through this pyramid, and they had to hit this frequency, and it would open another door, and they had to hit this frequency and would open another one. That's how our body works. I can't think of the name of that movie.
Was
but
it an adventure movie?
It was an adventure movie.
Was it Indiana Jones?
Yes, it was an Indiana Jones-like one. Maybe it was that one. I'm not sure.
I don't remember frequencies in that one, though. But
Yeah, like a sound, or there was this. Okay, I'll just leave that. But trust me, there is a movie.
That's cool.
There is a movie out there, and
You know.
but the allegory is that's how your body works. So when the root chakra sings the happy tune, and then the sacral, and then your solar plexus, that will start to unlock the frequency of your heart chakra. And then you can start to take your steps in there. The heart is so important that if you just clear your lower 3, it isn't going to completely open. And it definitely won't open until you close you open your lower 3, because you can't pull, the heart will not allow you to pull the negativity of the lower 3 into its space. The heart has a brain, and the brain of the heart is incredibly smart. And it's not going to open until you balance the first 3. But once you get in and your heart chakra is just starting to open, what happens after that is you will start to move up through your upper 3. And the cool thing is, as you clear a little bit in your throat chakra, it opens the heart a little bit more. And then and it just keeps feeding. And as you work on your third eye, it opens the heart a little bit more. You're feeding it. And then when you get up to the crown, and it all of a sudden there's this frequency you hit, and I don't know the number, but I have experienced it. Your heart will all of a sudden just pop, and you will get drunk on joy. For me, it was weeks. The sad thing is, you can't stay there. You're only going to feel this for a certain point of time. If you stay there, it's like being stuck in the New Age. You can't stay there forever. But it's this blissful feeling, and that's not even merging ego and soul. That's just when you have done enough work to open up the heart, and you're still not done with the throat and the pineal and the crown. You're still not done with those, but you've had enough frequency that it keeps feeding into the heart, and the heart just goes ping, and then you're in bliss land. And I can't describe it other than you're drunk on joy. There is nothing that's going to bring you down. It feels so weird. It just I'd never used drugs, so I can't relate it to anything like that. I was just drunk on joy. And then then it kind of dissipated, and I came back to earth. You can't ground yourself. You honestly know it's the heart. You know you're drunk on joy. You'll just giggle and laugh forever. I mean, you just laugh. Everything is funny. Oh, I just fell and just hurt myself. And you're just stupid. You're stupid drunk on joy. You'll just giggle at anything. Everything. That's hilarious. Yes, I just couldn't stop giggling. I couldn't stop smiling. I look like a happy idiot. Is the only way I could put it. I mean, now fortunately, my family is like me, so they knew. They knew what happened, But so your first stage is doing the lower 3. And then you start to partially open the heart. Then you start to move up to your upper 3, and then they feed into the heart, and then the heart's going to pop. And then after the heart pops and you continue to work on your upper 3, then after that you hit this other amazing frequency, and then that's when it starts to all merge into the heart center. You merge ego and soul, and then the two become one. So that's the goal. And that is the first stage of the completion of the magnum opus, our great work. So many people in inner alchemy think, well, I merged ego and soul. I completed the great work. It's like, no, you just created the first stage, which we'll also go into alchemy. I'm not going to go into Rubido and those other stages, but that's just the first stage, and then there's more to come, and it's so cool after that. But the hardest part is getting to that point. But it's the heart. You can't do any of this without the heart. The heart and the brain of the heart is just absolutely fantabulous. So with let's discuss the heart chakra. You want to start off?
Oh, sure. Well, we can start with some signs of imbalance of the heart chakra.
Okay.
You've got, if you feel hard-hearted, lack of love, or you feel conditional love, not unconditional love, but it's based on something. You want something in return for your love. Lack of self-love and or self-respect. You're unable to accept self. Lack of compassion. Lung disorders, including cancer, asthma, and emphysema, respiratory system disorders, heart attacks, tachycardia, which is rapid heartbeat, chest pain, shortness of breath, vascular and circulatory system disorders and dysfunction, including arteriosclerosis and peripheral vascular insufficiency. Like, okay. Insufficient immune response to foreign invaders, as opposed to autoimmune disorders. Overly sufficient immune response is governed by the solar plexus chakra. That's different. This is lack of sufficient T cell production. You're unable or refusing to forgive, chronic stress, no peace, unable to absorb or utilize vitamins from food or vitamin supplements. Vertigo is a symptom of an imbalance in the heart. Lack of faith, heartbroken, an enlarged heart, congestive heart failure, mitral valve prolapse, pneumonia, bronchitis. So all the lungs and the heart disorders. Feeling guilty, grieving or holding on to grief. Boy, there's so many. Carpal tunnel and other arm-hand disorders. Remember, if you're with men especially, if you have a pain in your arm sometimes before you have a heart attack, so your arms are connected. Numbness in your arms, hand, fingers, unable to give or receive nurturing, difficulty with giving and or receiving love, toxicity, lymphatic sluggishness, an enlarged spleen, pain or tension between your shoulder blades. A lot of people I've heard of that, having that lately. Being clingy or overly needy in matters of love, paranoia, needing constant reassurance, punishing of yourself or punishing others, indecisive between heart and head, difficulty in following your heart, thinking that's a stupid thing and you should do the logical thing, breast tenderness, possessiveness, feeling self-pity or the martyr syndrome, being intolerant of others, smothering, naive, too trusting or gullible, codependency, distrusting of others or being critical of others, being cold or aloof, being selfish, not self-centered. Self-centered is actually a good thing in this context. So you're not centered in yourself. You are selfish. You're overly caring about your own needs. You're an ingrate, never grateful. You don't appreciate. You need to be perfect. You're intolerant of any imperfection, and you feel unforgivable to others. And when you're in balance in your heart, there's a lot less of these. They're just much simpler. You can feel and show unconditional love to yourself and to others. You love without any expectations for anything in return. You are able to forgive. You don't perceive the transgression or error. You're always forgiving and forgivable. You forgive yourself and all other living beings, events, circumstances, and experiences. You easily detect your heart's desire, and you follow your heart in complete faith and joy. You're joyful, peaceful, faithful. You trust others. You take responsibility for yourself and your life. You have no pity for yourself, and you're not a martyr. You have no martyr syndrome. You're not bothered by stress, and you don't even perceive stress. You love yourself completely and have no fear of rejection by others, and you don't seek reassurance from others. Love is light, never smothering, clingy, or heavy. And by that, it's easy. It's easy to love. They have a healthy heart. They have a healthy circulatory and vasculatory system, healthy lymph system, respiratory system, and immune system. You enjoy spending time outdoors in nature. You breathe easily. You easily assimilate vitamins in your diet. You're compassionate toward yourself and others. You accept that there's no perfection in mind or body. You just accept perfection as self in spirit. You're balanced in your life. You're balanced and easily integrated in your mind, body, and spirit. You're habitually grateful and appreciative. You're nurturing to yourself and others. You love animals, nature, and the earth. Then you are self-centered, self-accepting, accepting of others. Self-centered is not, in this case, the same as selfish. So that's the... But wow.
I know.
Awesome way to be. No wonder you were all giggly.
Yeah. and it when you read about the there's right away I have to go over two of the medical issues. You can have Ascension symptoms of a rapid heartbeat, and it's not because your heart chakra is imbalanced.
That's true. I've had those.
Yeah, what it is a sign of, it's not like heart problems, or it's not that that's not imbalanced. It's actually quite the opposite. It's more that you're getting a lot of frequencies to your heart that it can't handle. So physically, then you need to kind of do what I did with my headaches, basically. Go to the oils, go to energy work. And when did this start? Usually when you're getting rapid heartbeat as an Ascension symptom, generally it's pretty true to the adrenals. Your adrenal glands are working a little bit too hard because of stress. Solar flares really bring that on. They really do. And, so that's why it's so important because most people, I would have a hard time saying that anyone on this call is stuck in the lower chakras. Because again, I don't think you could handle the vibration of our voices. You wouldn't want the information. So pretty much, if you haven't shut us off by now, I would say you're working. I can't say exactly where you are, but you're at least working in your heart. Vertigo is also another one that if you get a really big solar flare hit, or if your body increases in vibration, you can have the symptoms of vertigo. I know you've had that a lot. I've had that a lot just sitting down, where I have all of a sudden my whole body will start to vibrate, and I get this whoosh of energy that I swear if I had been walking, I would have looked like I was drunk. Really disoriented and vertigo. And that had nothing to do with my heart chakra. It was not an imbalance. It was just a power surge of energy. So those are the only two in there that I can say,
Might be something else.
That could be something else. And always with these symptoms and and when we focus on the bad medical things, always go to a doctor or a healer, especially when you're dealing with the heart. If you have a high blood pressure or bad circulatory system, don't ignore those things. I just want to put that little FYI out. We need to, the medical community and the allopathic community, those two need to become one too, because I work in the alternative medicine industry, but I still respect to a certain point the medical community. We need to come together. So
yeah, there's a lot of good people who are doctors and nurses who really do want to help.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know any other way.
They don't have our knowledge, but most of us have their knowledge. I had to study, the anatomy and physiology of the body as much as a nurse would, pretty much. But we need to share stuff, and kind of, I have to share this. This is so cool. Speaking of my school and my studies, I have my original notes from my school, which I pull from to plan lessons and things like that and do talks like this. And the day, when we did the heart, my gosh, we spent a long time on it. But the first class, my very first heart chakra class with the Appalachian Institute of Awakening was on January 22nd. 22 is so important. It's a master number. It's the master builder number. But in my life personally, I've had so many astral experiences with the number 22. And the year was 2010. This was quite a while ago. But if you add all of those numbers together, 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0, with Plato's numerology, you get 8.
Of course you do.
Of course you do. That's how I know. That's how my life works. I swear.
22, 8.
You know,
4, 5, 5.
I know. There you go. But the infinity loop. That's the heart. It's the as above, so below. Connects in the middle of the infinity loop. I just think, wow, how freaking cool is that? So I just had to share that. I kind of geek out with numerology and gematria.
Yeah. And the 22 is also, it's the master builder. You're building you.
Yes, you're building
you as a master.
You're building you in your heart. So I was like, perfect date to take that class. Boy, that was a banging class. That was a hard one. But you had to have tissues, in which we're going to do some of those meditations. And I will warn people, get your tissue boxes out, because we're really going to do some heart work. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yes. And your heart chakra, I should say where it is. It's right below your sternum, where your fingers indent a little bit underneath. And it's the colors are green and pink, which most of you know. The element's air. The senses touch.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. All right.
And the key to fixing your heart chakra, fully open it up, because it's a lot to live up to. I mean, when you read all the things that you're supposed to be when it's in balance, my heart chakra is balanced. It's fully open. Am I those things all the time? Heck no. No one's perfect. None of us are walking on water. So, but what the big key is, it's two things. One is you need to be lucid in your life. And by that, I mean, pay attention. When you notice yourself getting a bit cheeky with someone, you catch it. You're in your heart. You are at a level where you know better. You know better. You should not be getting sassy with that person, or you shouldn't be judgmental. And if you realize that you're a spiritual person having a human experience in a body, and you take the observer point of view, you're very lucid. You're very aware of your behavior, of what's going on, and you catch it immediately.
Right. You're living consciously
every
moment.
Yep. And then when you're living consciously, the next thing you do is you have to forgive. Forgiveness is the big golden key to the heart chakra. And it's forgiveness to the person that just made you mad, that you got cheeky with, and it's forgiveness to yourself. It's as above, so below. You have to forgive both. And that's the key to it. It's so simple if you can just be an observer and forgive. And some of the things, I teach a class in my house, and when we got to the heart chakra and we were discussing forgiveness, all of them just kind of looked at me like, you mean, so if someone is hurting an animal, I have to forgive them? Because they all work in animal rescue shelters. And I had to say yes. Yes. Because you have to understand that person is having a human experience just like you. And it doesn't mean you forgive what they do. It means you forgive them for just not understanding.
That's right. They know not what they do.
Yes. Yeah. You don't forgive what they do. You forgive the energy that they're creating. And that is so hard. It's so hard. When I opened my heart chakra and I was in full bliss, I have to tell you, the most frustrating thing for me was, and it made me cry, is because I felt unconditional love. I felt unconditional love for people that would kick a cat. I felt unconditional love for abusers. I couldn't hate anyone. And it made me cry. And I was like, I can't live my life like this forever. I need to be able to forgive and to feel and to be able to go back to that bliss place, but I can't forgive the act of abuse. I can't forgive that because it's wrong. But when I was in that heart and I was in the bliss, I couldn't feel that I want to punch you in the face because you just abused that animal. It was not there for me. And then after 3 weeks, everything just changed. I could forgive them, but not what they did, and I can't even begin to tell you what that feels like.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to condone bad acts. It
No.
just means that you can still love a person in spite of how badly they've behaved.
And I could tell you for a fact that, well, I had an experience this summer where there was this man who was beating his dog with his leash, and the dog was crying. We were anchored on our boat. We're boaters, and this guy was on the beach. And even though my heart is in the right place, and I could forgive him, but let me tell you one thing. The water was cold that day, and it was really cold. This was in the fall. If I could have gotten in that water and gotten to that man, it would not have ended correctly for him. I would have... I wouldn't have gotten violent, but I would have gotten in his face. Doesn't mean I don't love him, and it doesn't mean I didn't forgive him, and I would have even told him I forgave him. But damn Skippy, he wouldn't have been hitting his dog anymore. But when I was in the heart, I couldn't have done that. So that's another, you'll know when that heart opens, you know. But forgiveness is the key. And it doesn't mean you're perfect, and it doesn't mean you're going to do all these things all the time. But in order to really burst that heart open, you have to forgive. And it's forgiveness. And I know I sound like a corny commercial, but it's the truth. I know it.
And you have to go back.
I did it.
And, forgive. If you have a bad relationship with your parents, you've got to go back and forgive them.
One thing I did a lot of work. And I want to do the heart chakra again next week, because I want to go over some of the exercises that I was taught in my class that I actually took the time to do. And there's a forgiveness exercise where we go into a meditation, and you look at the person you want to forgive, and it's very intense. You actually pull the energy of the event or the person to do a forgiveness exercise, and then you do it for yourself. So I made a list, and I went back through my childhood. I went as back as I could, and did right and burns. I did all kinds of forgiveness meditations. I worked my hiney off, because I wanted my heart open, and I wanted to progress, and I really took it seriously. I just didn't want to be angry anymore. As you guys know, I'm a walk-in, so when I walked in here, I hated it. I hated living here. I hated this planet. I didn't like the people. I was not a people person after I walked in. I was anti-people. Because everyone was just, crazy here. I did not like it. I needed, in order for me to do what I needed to do, I needed to love people, I needed to love the planet, and I needed to love myself. And I didn't like the body I walked into. I didn't like anything. I just wanted to go home. And I told that story the first show, so I won't go back to that. But that's why I work so hard to open my heart chakra. And, because I just didn't want to be unhappy anymore. I wanted to be able to forgive. But, I also, I didn't want to actually say it's okay to abuse, because I'll never go there. But I can forgive it. And I know everyone probably thinks I'm a complete wackadoodle and I'm a love and lighter, but trust me, I'm not.
Right. Like if you're around powers that be doing something awful, you jump in and try to prevent it, and without hurting anyone.
Right.
And then you have to forgive them.
Yeah. I mean, and in my astral travels, I have fought things and I have destroyed things, but I still forgave it, but I still annihilated it too.
Actually,
so it's crazy. It's crazy.
I've had a lot of battles in the astral too. I had them more frequently when I was younger. I was always fighting some kind of demon or something, especially ones that had children. And I remember I was in this battle, and I never had a weapon. I was always barehanded, and I was fighting this female demon who had trapped a bunch of children and had them in cages. And I went and rescued the children, and then she caught me, and she and I were battling hand to hand, and I finally got her down and was strangling her with my bare hands, and I hated her so much for what she was doing to children. And then as I stared at her, I just felt compassion just flow over me, and I looked at her and I said, all right. And I let her go. I didn't kill her. And then I woke up.
Yeah.
Probably should have gotten rid of her, but maybe a cleanup crew came in after me.
Probably. Forgiveness is tricky, because so many people think I can never forgive that act. I just can't forgive it. And forgiving doesn't mean you agree, because
that's right.
We will never agree to the atrocities that are taking place on this planet. Exactly. Never, 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 never.
They are not okay.
They are not okay, but that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is an energy aspect. It's an energy aspect. And when you can see the difference between the two, it makes it easier to forgive the people who pooped on you your whole life. It really does. And you don't do it all at once. I had very big issues that it was like an onion, and I had to peel back layers of the onion, especially with issues where, I may have been abused. I couldn't do it all at once. And you never pick your big ones at first. You always pick the little ones. And then once you get the hang of forgiveness, because it's all, for me, I had fear. I felt fear in forgiving because I didn't want to forget. I didn't want to forget, and I was afraid to forgive because I was afraid I was giving my consent. I was afraid I was saying it was okay. Well, it wasn't okay what you did to me. So I picked the little ones first, and when I did it correctly, it was such a release. It was like this baggage just left me, and I'm like, I get it now. It's all about energy, frequency, and vibration. Yes. It's not okay. I never gave them permission to do that to me, and it's not okay. But it's the frequency. I turned the negative polarity of that event to positive just by entering the frequency of forgiveness.
I was just going to say it. You're transmuting. That's exactly what you're doing.
You're transmuting.
You're fixing the problem.
Because you have a negative, and it's not an event, it's just a negative frequency. It's all about frequency and vibration. And if you can even take the event out, do it. It's And all you're doing is you're taking that frequency and you're flipping the switch.
Right.
That's
and you're
it.
certainly healing your emotional body
Yes.
when you're doing it too.
And then you heal yourself, and because you it's really hard for us to completely forget, and you can never say it was okay, but what you can do, and I did this after I felt forgiveness for, I'll just say for this particular person, I was able to go in and see all the positive things that I actually learned from it. Never, oh my gosh, never, ever did I think I would ever get to that. But I did. And I made a list and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never would have learned that if that person hadn't abused me like this. You know,
Right.
I never would have learned that. And pretty soon my list of the knowledge that I gained from this horrible, horrible experience that was not okay was bigger than the bad list. I was speechless. And then a couple years went by, and I think Andrea knows exactly who I'm talking about.
I do.
And we were just talking about this particular person just this week, and I actually feel love for them. I love them. And they're still nasty and they're still mean, and it really makes me sad because they're never going to change. I can never have a relationship with that person. And I learned so much from them, and I actually love them. Now, if you would have told me this back in, it's someone I had an encounter with after my walk-in. If you would have told me this in January of 2009, I would have said, you're crazy. You know, there's just no way. There's no way. And it took me, you know, it took a long time, but it worked. And I actually didn't know all the stuff that I know now. I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants until I took this class, and then really worked with it, because I didn't fully trust it at first. But then once I worked with it and really understood forgiveness, it happened for me. So it's possible. And the most important lesson, really, I can just say, the only lesson the heart teaches is forgiveness, because that encompasses everything. It's what the world is based on. The world is based on love, the love frequency, unconditional love frequency, which, you know, I felt unconditional love for 3 weeks. And I know I'll never completely be able to feel that again until, you know, we leave and we all go home, because of the bodies that we're in. But it's the only lesson. Because that old saying, love is all there is, it's true.
Go figure.
I know. Go figure. It's
to
true.
actually realize it, it's pretty.
It was so amazing for me, you know. I was one that I really didn't want it to last, because I don't like feeling ungrounded. I can't be in that love and light, and you know, I can't to say it's okay for people to do bad things. And that was like blocked from me for 3 weeks, and you know, and so it was a relief for me to have my bliss binge was over. And once I finally did come back to Earth, I came back to a different Earth. I came back to a different me, and it was much better. It was much better. But
yeah, I'm sure you were much more balanced.
Yes.
You went to the super positive polarity. You know,
Yeah.
You were finally able to back up a little bit.
And the cool thing now, what took me years to accomplish can be done in months. And I'm not joking. I am not joking. With this new energy that's coming in right now, it's pretty much forcing people to do this work. But that's a good thing, because you don't have to pull it out like splinters like I did. It's being pulled out for you. And you have the support of the planets helping you to heal. You have this new energy coming in to helping you heal. So even though it was really hard for me, and those that have done the same thing that I have, you're probably crying right now, because you're remembering how hard it was, and then you're remembering what that bliss felt like. You can do it in months. And I am not freaking joking. What took some of us years to do, you can do in lightning speed now. So, this is the time. And Earth is the place.
That's right.
There was some more things. Oh, I better check the time. We're at 1:38. There are some other things I wanted to go over about the heart.
There's ways you can balance, and then
yes, those exercises really work. And well, I'm going to let you go over those. But the first, there's 2 on here, 3 that I absolutely swear by, and I do this a lot.
Okay.
Is my teachers called it the thymus thump. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you want to tap on your sternum, right between your throat chakra and your chest. Like if you're a gorilla beating its chest, you want to take two or 3 fingers and just tap right on that thymus. It just vibrates out, and I do that so much. It centers you. It'll give you a little boost of energy, and it helps to open up that heart. The other thing is I swear by. Shoot, I just lost it. Yoga and Tai Chi. Oh, can't say enough good things about that. My favorite yoga position, and I was actually, after my walk-in experience, got so sick that I had to leave dance. I couldn't work out at the gym. I couldn't do Tai Chi. It was very difficult. Yoga, forget it. But the one yoga pose that I always did, because it was so close, I knew it was so important for my heart, is you take both hands behind your back, and as far as you can, and if you can grasp both hands, that's good. If not, just as far as you can get it, and you want to push your chest out, and you want to look up at the ceiling, and you'll feel your back arch, and you'll feel like your chest bones are kind of separating. And when I do that, I actually will crack my chest because I'm not so tight there anymore. That's opening your heart.
That's cool. I'm doing that right now.
It's energetic. You're pulling so much energy into that heart center. It's probably one of I think it's the best yoga exercise for the heart. So any yoginis out there, I'm sure they're saying yes, and then there's this, and then there's this. Yoga practice is good for the whole body, but it really pulls you into your heart space. And I think there was another one. Oh gosh, nope. I think those were my 2 favorites, and I'm going to let you go on to the other ones.
Go quickly. All right, ready? Okay, ways you can help to balance that heart chakra. You visualize or wear the colors green and pink. Do the green or pink ball of light meditation. Simply visualize a glowing green or pink ball in meditation. And then what Lisa was talking about, the EFT meridian tapping on your thymus. Listening to the musical note F. Spending time outside with air and nature. Deep breathing exercises. Adding green fruits and vegetables to your diet. Adding supplemental fulvic ionic vitamins to your diet, which I have done. Exercising, particularly Qi exercises like Qigong, Tai Chi, yes. Wearing green and or pink gemstones. Undoing transgressions, pretending they never occurred in the first place. Forgiving as if nothing bad ever occurred rather than focusing on the transgression and then forgiving it. Looking in the mirror and saying, I love you. Engaging in any activity that feels joyful, playing with children and pets. Loving others without any conditions or expectations in return. Rewarding instead of punishing. When tempted to punish for wrongdoing, look instead for something about yourself or someone else to reward. Keeping a journal to write down all that you love and are grateful for. there's this little app on the iPhone, I think, that says, it's called the Grateful app or something, where you can, just write every day. You write 5 things that you're grateful for that day. It's kind of cute.
I do that before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Part of my dream yoga practice. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, what a great habit. Releasing all subconscious and unconscious guilt. Make a practice of looking for the good in all situations, regardless of how dire they may seem. Look for the silver lining. Engaging in spiritual growth and personal development activities. And the most important thing we can do for ourselves is not only to love unconditionally, and as Lisa said, it's to forgive. And so forgiveness is wonderful for the persons that you forgive, but it also helps you because it transmutes that energy. And you're no longer allowing the person or the situation you've perceived as causing you pain to hold any power over you. You let it go. You're not carrying that load anymore. It's true freedom. It opens up the heart chakra to feel the love that you truly are. And refusal to forgive energetically blocks your love, and it manifests in various ways, including serious health problems in your body. So you always try to do your very best to forgive, no matter how hard it may seem.
And I have another cool thing that I did because I had to come up with a lot of my own stuff before I started studying. And one thing I did is, here in the US we have a sponge that's called a magic eraser. And I had been cleaning with that for years. I love my magic eraser. So one day I was cleaning and I'm noticing all this black dirt coming off on my white magic eraser. Now, for me, my whole life is a spiritual journey. I'm just never not transmuting. I'm never not working on myself. I do it all the time. So as I'm cleaning, I'm like, this is like removing darkness, removing negativity, removing a negative frequency. So I when I went into one of my meditations, I got out and made a etheric magic eraser. And what I did is I used my magic eraser and I started at my root chakra. And I went in there and I visualized diving into my root chakra and wiping all the pooty poo and the goo and the gunk, and it just came out black. And it was so gross. And I threw it out and I got out another one and I kept doing that exercise until it came out fairly clean. And I did that to all of my chakras. And when I got to the heart chakra, it felt completely different, because it wouldn't let me wipe anything unless there was any forgiveness.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And I was like, dang, why isn't this working? I just wanted to wipe all the stuff out of my heart chakra, because you hold it all in there. I just wanted it gone. Just get it out. So I thought, well, it worked on the other 3 chakras. It's going to work on this one. And it wouldn't work. And so I could go up to my other chakras and it would not work on my heart chakra until I started forgiving. And then, and then when I would go into a situation and the more forgiveness I could feel, the dirtier my magic eraser would come out. So the heart has a mind of its own. I mean, and it is. It literally does. It's a brain. And this was before I knew the heart had a brain, because I was not book knowledge girl then. I was just experience. And so once I finally learned that the heart has a brain, I think I learned it through heart math. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, you really do have to forgive, and it's like it's built in. It's like it's built into the frequency and the coding of your heart. You aren't gonna. It's like you shall not pass.
Wow.
There's no forgiveness. in your heart, if you can't forgive, then just don't even try coming in here and cleaning, because it's the forgiveness that cleans it.
Wow.
And before,
Very good way of looking at that. It's the
Yeah.
forgiveness that cleans it
it
out.
is, it's the forgiveness that cleans it out. And I just found that, just from experience. I don't know if I would imagine we're all built the same way, so I would assume everyone's going to have the same experience, but that was my personal experience, and I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it until I had to experience it. I had to do it. I had to forgive. I thought I could squeak by. You can't. The heart won't.
That's wicked bad.
If there's a shortcut, I'm going to take it. Anyone who knows me knows that well. I'm all about, I want it now. I used to be very impatient. I didn't want to have to wait for anything. So if there was a shortcut to enlightenment or to opening up the heart, I would have found it. And there isn't any. Oils help. I will say my love of my oils. I'm definitely an oiler, and crystals. I love my crystals, and when you can combine oils and crystals on your heart center, I do this for my clients. It really makes a difference. You can just lull yourself into la la land, and you can really start to feel warmth, and you can start to feel the warmth building in your heart, which really helps purification and transformation. My favorite oil for the heart, I can't afford, but it's rose. My healing teacher, of course, has rose, and rose, just to smell it or to put that, and I'm talking a pure essential oil, not stuff you buy in the grocery store, but a really good oil. Rose is amazing for the heart. My favorite is ylang ylang, and I know I'm saying that wrong. I always used to get yelled at in class for saying that. I don't know how to say it, but
I don't either.
It
looks like ylang.
It's not. That's not the correct.
Maybe it's elang. Right?
I'm not sure. I'm sure there are aromatherapists that are yelling at me right now. Just like my teacher used to, and that lesson didn't sink in. But I'm gonna get on a bliss giggle now. Ylang really works. The other ones that are good are Roman chamomile, lavender, and sandalwood. Sandalwood is a traditional oil for the heart, but for me personally, sandalwood tends to ground me. It's because it's a hearty oil, and I can't use sandalwood when I want to get into my heart. It has to be a light flower smell. Sandalwood is not. It's more of earth. It just reminds me of earthing and not of light and fluffy of the heart. Roman chamomile also doesn't quite work for me, but lavender does. Ylang, rose, and also geranium. Your flowery scents really work for me to when I want to get into the heart. And my favorite crystal, I only have one favorite crystal for the heart chakra, and that's rose quartz. And that kind of corresponds with the oil. I hold rose quartz a lot. I'll even fall asleep with it in my hands. Yeah.
My heart, and then I roll over and it ends up somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And I have a rose quartz that when I was really working on my heart chakra, and I was holding it all the time, after I had my little drunken bliss state, it has a smiley face on it now.
Oh, cute.
It has two little black dots and a little like a curve going up, and it's a smiley face. I put, it was like, when did I have my little heart thing? I believe that was in after I started Facebook in 2011. And I know Lisa Murray, my friend Lisa Murray, I know she's listening. She will remember me posting my rose quartz, because I didn't know back then that crystals could change like they can, because I was still upping up on my book knowledge. And she was the one that told me, oh yeah, they could do that. I'm like, wow. And it has a smiley face. How cool is that? So.
Oh, by the way, that I looked up how to pronounce the Y-L-A-N-G. It's Ilang.
Elang. Yeah, not yalang. Oh,
Okay.
that sounds so nasally. That's so horrible. No wonder I got yelled at.
It's also spelled I-L-A-N-G. That makes it easier. Can be spelled both ways. Ilang.
Yes, she would cringe at some of my pronunciations. I'm like, sorry, English is my second language. Don't know what my first one is. Alrighty, I think this is a good way to end the show. I do have a magnificent meditation that we wanted to do, but I don't want to go past 2 hours. We're already at a minute 54, or an hour and 54 minutes. But next week we're going to do a meditation that I learned, and it's the first meditation we learned for the heart, and it really opens your heart. You probably will need a box of tissues. Just saying, when you do this meditation, and it's a life changer. So we'll do that next week. I can't wait.
Yeah. And we can do that affirmations next week too. I think we can go together.
Yeah, it would be nice to do the meditation and then close with the affirmations, because I think we might want to talk about forgiveness a little bit more next week.
I think so too.
Who knows?
Yes. It's a big topic, forgiveness.
It is. The heart, when I studied it, just on doing the sacred space of the heart meditation, was 3 days, and each day would start at like 9 o'clock and would go to about 6, and we just got a couple food breaks.
Wow.
And that was just on forgiveness meditations and forgiveness exercises. And then we had another 3-day weekend that was just as long, on just your information on your heart chakra. And then, we haven't even gotten into the science of the heart, which is something we should probably do next week, which is the heart math.
That's right.
Because it's not all spirituality with the heart. It's, there's a lot of good science behind that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So we should probably do that too.
Okie doke.
Fun stuff.
Well, thank you everyone for being with us once again.
Yes, thank you. And good night, good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are, how you're listening. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.